coverage.
More experience. More stats.
And that's final.
ET Final Score is brought to you by Ashley Furniture.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to our ETFinalScore.com high school preview show. I'm Joe Buie, your host, and I'm joined by Shane Stark, who is getting ready to cover Gilmer in a state championship game. Shane, Gilmer plays Navasota, #1 Navasota. So kind of talk about how Gilmer's pretty used to being at this stage.
Yeah, this will be the fourth time they played in a title game since 2004, so they've gotten pretty used to it. Since 2007, this will be the third time, so it seems like they've been every other year kind of thing. They won in 2004, won in 2009, lost in 2007.
Okay.
So they've been kind of going back.
So
and
2-1 in state championship games
under Coach Traylor. And they draw a really good Navasota team this week. It's going to be a tough one for them, but every playoff game can be tough. So in Gilmer, they're used to these kinds of tough games.
Well, let's talk about #1 Navasota. What have you been able to learn about them?
Well, I know that they've been pretty much dominant all year. The only game that they really struggled in, or I wouldn't say struggled, but that was close, was Lamarck 2 rounds ago. It was 31-20 final. In their district, 4 district games, they didn't give up a single point, which is incredible. And so they're in their state championship game for the first time since '88, I believe.
Wow.
So they're this is new to them, unlike Gilmer. I don't think a lot of these players on the team were born the last time they played for a state championship.
Yeah.
So, it's obviously an exciting time for Navasota. Started the year #5, worked their way up to #1 in the poll. So in passing, what they do offensively is they like to pass the ball with their quarterback, Kadarius Baker. He's passed for over 4,000 yards.
Wow.
He's got like 55 touchdowns or something like that on the year passing. And then on defense, they're loaded on defense with a lot of great players. The AP team that came out this week, they got 6 guys that made it. So
okay, so they're a lot of talent.
A lot of talent.
All right. I looked up a couple of notes on 18-3A just to see who all Madison had played, and I was trying to find anything possible that could be wrong with Madisonville. And I noticed the teams that they played in their district had a combined record of just 16-27.
Right.
So as opposed to no team with a winning record other than Navasota, and then you have Gilmer in their tough district, and they had 4 teams with winning records in their district. So.
Yeah, Gilmer, they had to go through Kilgore, they had to go through Henderson, Bullard, Gladewater. They had a lot tougher district schedule than Navasota did.
Quite a bit tougher road. Although we have to, like you mentioned, Navasota did have that impressive win over Lamarck.
Right, and being this round, they outscored their district opponents 191-0.
Their scores are amazing.
So I mean,
you can't discount that.
You can't discount that. They were beating these teams really bad, which shows how good they are.
Yeah.
But when you're this, it's not like this is a first-round game or a second-round game. When you're this far in the playoffs, 6 games into the playoffs, district is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so you've been playing a lot of good teams leading up to this. So I don't see that affecting them any.
Right. And then last week, speaking of impressive wins, Gilmer in a state semifinal beating Graham 50-7.
Yeah, it was really impressive. It was a real windy night. And Gilmer was really smart in how they played the wind, which by meaning they opted to have the wind at their back in the first quarter. And we all know who watch sports a lot, especially guys like us who cover it and see a lot of games, that getting out to good starts is really important. And so with the wind at their back, they were able to get out to a 21-0 lead in the first quarter, and so they really were rolling at that point. They made Graham had the ball, they would get stops, and Graham couldn't punt because they had 25-mile-an-hour wind coming at them. So I mean, so the field possession battle was really in Gilmer's favor. Then they come out in the third quarter with the wind at their back again, and keep in mind, Gilmer did not. They didn't receive any kickoff in that game. They didn't receive the opening kick, and they didn't receive the second half kick. But by forcing Graham to have the ball deep in their territory to open the first and third quarters, they were able to get quick takeaways and have good field position with the wind at their back. So they scored 21 in the first quarter, 21 in the third, and the rest was history.
Okay. And then it looks like Navasota's coming off a 24-7 win over Belleville.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had a big kickoff return that aided them in that game. So they've played in the last 2 rounds. They've played some pretty good teams, so they're battle tested.
Beating the West Orange Stark 38-7, that kind of sticks out too. West Orange Stark is a program that people know.
Right. I mean, there's some names on their schedule, named teams: Jasper, Lamarck, West Orange Stark. They beat Cold Spring Oakhurst in non-district. Lexington, Fairfield. I mean, even though you can say their district isn't up to what the 16-3A is, they played some good teams.
Shane, tell the fans when the Gilmer game is kicking off and where, and then also mention Dangerfield.
Yeah, it's 4 o'clock, Cowboy Stadium. That'll be after Dangerfield's game.
4 o'clock Friday.
4 o'clock Friday at Cowboy Stadium in Arlington. And then Dangerfield, another East Texas team, they play at noon Friday in the 2A Division II state championship against Cameron Yo. So
that should be
2A Division I. I'm sorry.
That should be a great game.
Yeah, should be a good matchup.
I have to admit, I did not expect either Dangerfield or Gilmer to get this far.
Yeah, well, Dangerfield's a lot like Gilmer. I mean, this is the 4th time in the last 5 years that they're playing in a state championship game. So even though it's new players, I think there's just something about the culture that you pass down, and so they're just used to winning in the playoffs.
All right, Shane, anything else we need to add?
That's about it.
All right. Just one thing I wanted to say to wrap up the show. John Tyler, we lost John Tyler last week in the state semifinals of Class 4A. They lost 57-53 to Denton Geyer, despite erasing a 19-point deficit in 74 seconds. So it was an amazing game, but they did lose to Denton Geyer 57-53. Thanks for joining us this season. We've enjoyed bringing this video to you guys.